Right, for more on this, let's now cross to SABC News Correspondent Blake Sifton, who is live for us in Dubai. Of course, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We know, Blake, that this is a developing story with a lot of moving parts. Give us a sense, firstly, what is happening on the ground in Dubai?
Good afternoon, Unati. It's true. This is a fast-moving story with many different theaters, many things happening simultaneously across a large geographical area. Now, here in Dubai, today has been especially calm. We have not heard any interceptions. We have not had those attacks that we've seen over the previous days. And I have to say, the streets are busier. There are more cars on the road. Shops are open. I've even seen some people lounging by the pool. So the situation here is eerily calm given the nature of the events shaping the region. However, elsewhere in the Gulf, it is not calm. Of course, as you say, we've seen the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, has been attacked by 2 drones. That's according to the Saudi Defense Ministry. They said there was a minor fire at the embassy and some material damage. Now, that is the second U.S. Embassy attacked in the Gulf in as many days. On Monday, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait came under fire. Smoke was seen rising out of the U.S. Embassy compound there. Both that embassy and the embassy in Riyadh are now closed until further notice. And Iran has really stepped up their attacks and the kind of attacks they're carrying out in Gulf countries. They have attacked energy infrastructure in both Qatar and in Saudi Arabia. When this conflict began, at least initially, it was U.S. military assets and U.S. bases in the region that were being targeted, and that's what we believed would be the situation. But it now seems, at least in those incidents in Saudi Arabia and in Qatar, that Iran is targeting critical infrastructure of its Gulf neighbors.
Yeah, and I mean, as you also say, you know, with those warnings, Israel, as we also know it, issued evacuation orders, you know, for residents in southern Lebanon. This, as you've also just said, Blake, as escalation of airstrikes continues. Give us a sense of where Israel is at the moment in terms of this escalation by Iran.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think the developments in Lebanon today are some of the most dramatic and important developments to focus on. The Israeli military has issued those widespread evacuation orders. They are carrying out bombings across Lebanon. They say they're targeting Hezbollah command and control centers, satellite communication centers, weapons depots. They've targeted El Manar TV, which is a television station affiliated with Hezbollah. They've targeted the southern suburbs of Beirut, which is, of course, a Hezbollah stronghold. But in addition to the bombing, they have also now begun a limited ground incursion into Lebanon. After the 2024 ceasefire in November 2024 that ended the war between Hezbollah and Israel, Israel remained just inside Lebanon at 5 separate points just across the border. But today they've announced that they are moving in further. We understand they are around 1 kilometer into Lebanon, but they say they may go as far as the Litani River in the south, which is a Hezbollah-dominated area. Now, they said that they're doing this to thwart threats and prevent infiltration attempts into Israeli territory. Now, how viable those threats are of Hezbollah infiltrating Israel is a really big question, because since that ceasefire in November 2024, Israel has been carrying out near daily airstrikes against Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and elsewhere in Lebanon, essentially attacking every Hezbollah target they can find. But that is their justification, and they say they are moving in. Now, on Hezbollah's side, yesterday, of course, this began when they fired several missiles and rockets and drones, not a great number, but some, in their words, to avenge the death of Iran's supreme leader. And today we've seen around a dozen rockets fired, some drones, but nothing too dramatic. It's been quite a muted response by Hezbollah. We understand 4 Israelis were lightly injured. Those are the first Israeli casualties from Hezbollah since November 2024. But it's unclear why Hezbollah's response has been this limited. It's unclear if perhaps this is a strategic decision, or maybe they were weakened so severely by more than 2 years of war with Israel.
I guess time will tell, Blake. Thank you so much for that, Blake Sifton, live for us in Dubai, of course, as there is no let-up to this particular latest conflict in the Middle East. Blake Sifton live for us there. As you know, of course, South Africans, many of whom are also stuck in Dubai, being cautioned to take shelter and also be part of that database that has been created by the South African embassy there.